dollars, I like diamonds, I like stunning, I like shining.
This video isn't planned, but I just feel like I need to make it because obviously this week we've seen a large increase in the media coverage on violence and crime within the youth within London. And as somebody who was born and raised and grew up in London, I feel like it's so wrong of people in my generation to have accusing perspectives when we're forgetting that these same things were happening around us when we were younger as well. I don't think the situation has worsened, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like our perspective on it has changed. I feel like as a nation, we were slightly desensitized to... Sorry about that. So I feel like as a nation, we've become rather desensitized to it because of the lack of media coverage. But I do not feel like all of a sudden loads more people are getting killed, or all of a sudden loads more people are killing and stabbing. Guys, you need to actually deep that we are not in control here. And like, we just fully not. We're not in control of the situation. When really and truly, we are, depending on how you look at the situation, all victims of this situation somehow. Because I remember when I was growing up, if anybody who knows me, if you went to school with me, you know that I'm one of the biggest peacemakers about. I've grown up with having close relationships with a lot of guys, and I think it's down to the way I communicate. I have quite good communication skills. So when people are bugging out and they're wilding out and they're about to go do something crazy, I'm always the person that was scouted to kind of diffuse the whole situation. So that's something that I'm very, very good at. And I know personally, single-handedly, I have actually saved people's lives. They don't even realise. There are people walking around on the street today that would have had a knife in their gut. They would have been chinged out, splashed out, whatever we're calling it these days, if I wouldn't have stepped in and been like, bro, if you stab this guy, what have you got to lose? Because that's why people are doing it. It's the perspective of the people who are doing these things that we need to be looking at. Instead of being accusing them, we wanna blame parents, or we wanna blame the government. We wanna blame the people's parents. Like, bruv, the only person you can blame is yourself, because really and truly there's something more that you could be doing to help the situation of this country. There is no other person who is fully to blame. Okay, it's no one's fault. It's a collaborative effort of everybody. We all turn a blind eye to things that happen. How many times have you walked past somebody who's being started on? How many times have you walked past somebody who's being aggressive towards someone else? How many times have you heard aggression? You've heard fights, you've heard kickoffs, you've heard people shouting at each other, and you've just continued with your day. It takes one person to spark a change. Like, we can name 1,000 quotes right now. I'm starting with a man in the mirror. Do you know, like, we could do that, because really and truly the answer to this problem is everybody individually changing their perspective towards each other before we can actually go forward and start making like, people are really dying. People stay dying. When the news stops reporting it, people will still be dying. People are still screaming Black Lives Matter. Do you know why? Because our lives are still being treated like they don't matter. Even though we're not reporting it anymore. Right now, we're popping and we're what's hot. But I want to see who's still making noise and who's still talking about this topic when we're not. When everything's stopped, when everything's gone, when the news don't care anymore that black children and black boys are dying, who's still talking about it? Because I'm telling you one thing. If you know me and you're able to have personal conversations with me outside social media, you'll know that I talk about this kind of thing. That's why as soon as I heard that everybody was kicking up a stink about it again, I had to chat to my friend and I had to say, babes, do you really think that there's been an increase in crime like that? You need to think about who benefits from a system that is working in this way. It's not us. They will martialize this country before we all start killing each other like crazy people, okay? Because the moment that everything that's why they shut down riots so quick. Because the moment that people realize that they are not in control, that's when those people who think they're in control are in trouble. They will be in serious trouble the moment that everybody here thinks they're not in control. And right now, they're very much in control. That's why it's on the news. Remember that. You need to think about what's not being reported. That's where your mind should really be. The poor woman who's crying in her house right now because her son's been killed and no one knows except from her and her family. That's who you should be thinking about. You should be thinking about those people. You should be thinking about the people, like my thoughts are all scattered right now because I just cannot with this whole situation. It's just, it's actually really, really distressing me. When I think about the amount of people who I know who have lost people close to them, I'm so fortunate that I haven't actually lost any of my close friends or family from knife crime in a long time. I'm very fortunate for that, and I know that I'm lucky. If anything, it's not just fortune. I'm lucky. I'm blessed, and I am so thankful for the lives of the people who I treasure most dearly. Do you get what I mean? And I feel like we need to look out for each other more. We're living in such an individualistic society. We don't care about each other. There's no community spirit anymore. Like, it takes a village. It really takes a village. Like, you G-check youths on the road. Do that. You put yourself at risk, but do you know what? This situation isn't going to get better unless people are willing to do that. Like, seriously. Like, unless people are willing to put themselves in the firing line, this situation won't get better. Things do not have to get worse before they get better. We have to see them get worse before we're willing to make the choice to make the situation better. Things don't have to get bad. They don't have to. The situation doesn't have to get worse than this, okay? Where are these children getting these knives from? Because unless you're over the age of 18, you can't purchase a knife in a store. So where are these knives coming from? They're coming from your houses. They're coming from your houses. You need to be an on-job parent. And I know for some people, they may be thinking, you're young, I'm a parent too, so what are you saying? I'm a parent too. I'm a parent too, so what are you saying? I know what it's like to think you need to carry a knife. I know what that is like. And to be honest with you, if you're one of those kids who think you need to carry a knife, I can't tell you I can't sit here in my own situation and tell you that you shouldn't do that. But what I will say to you is, just remember, the moment you leave the house with that knife, the moment you feel a threat is posed to you, you know you have that. You'll use it. Like, regardless, you defo use it. And one thing you won't think about as you use it is how you're going to feel after you've taken someone's life. Speak to people who have killed people. Seriously, because even people who have killed people for good reasons that are justifiable to themselves and maybe to even other people, you still carry that burden for a lifetime. Clocking up a body count is not cool, okay? Because you have to carry every soul that you took with you. That shit is not cool. And if you think you have the emotional capacity to deal with that and still make good of your life, then, boy, that's your perspective, innit? But I don't think you can. Because if you are under the age of 18, you haven't dealt with most things in life that would allow you to even, like, contemplate things like self-forgiveness and like self-perception. You don't even know about them things yet. Like, you haven't even been able to quantify those things yet. So how are you going to be able to forgive yourself for killing someone? Because really and truly, in order for you to continue your life, you're going to have to do that anyways. Like, this is a serious conversation that we should be having with our kids. Why do you feel like you need to carry a knife? What threat is being posed to you? Why do you feel like stabbing Donnie is the best way out of this situation? Really and truly. Have frank conversations with your kids. Have frank and honest. Listen to the music they're listening to. We can't blame drill for for kids being shanky and happy about it. But what we can blame drill for is desensitizing them to it. What are your kids watching? What are they watching on TV? What games are they playing? Like, these are all things that will let you know what your kids do when they leave the house. Because really and truly, you don't know your child. Your friends know your child. And I know that because all my life I felt like that about my parents. Do you get what I mean? Like, my parents, even to this day, my parents don't know me the way my friends know me. My parents have a perception of the person they think I am. So you are going to, as a parent, you have the exact same thing of your child. Do you get what I'm saying? So if you think you know your child, really and truly, do you know them when they leave the house? Do you know what demeanor they carry when they leave the house? Because a lot of children are respectful, they're good children in front of their parents, and as soon as they leave the house, they're another person. How would you know if your child is one of those people? How would you know? Don't be in the dark. Be up in their grill, be up in their business. But be in their business and be in their grill for a good reason. Don't be in there because you're just trying to make their life hard, because kids don't like that and they don't respond. Teenagers do not respond well to things like that. It needs to be genuine. I don't even know, man. I don't know. I mean, it is hard for me to talk on this because obviously I don't have a teenage child. I don't have a child who is in this at the moment. But I really do, when I think about this situation, I really do think about like my younger cousins, and I think about myself when I was younger, when I was like 13, 14, 15, and I moved around to a lot of schools when I was younger. My parents moved me around because I wasn't bad in school, but I got in quite a lot of trouble at school, and I wasn't like allowed to like do like all this walking street late at night gang behavior. I wasn't really able to do that kind of thing because my parents had me on lock, but you know, I was able to play up in school to a point where they felt like I needed to be removed from the situation, and that's why I left London. My parents removed me from London fully. And bruv, if you are able to do that for your child, I would definitely suggest it. Like, your kid may not thank you for it at the time, but in the long run they will, because London's a bubble as well. That's another thing. Like, it's such a bubble. Like, when you're in there, you're not really thinking about what's outside. A lot of people who grow up in London and they live in London their whole lives, they never leave, and that's not good. You want to see other people's worlds, other people's perspectives. When I moved to Leicester, they all thought I was a gangbanger. They thought I carried a knife and I was this person that I wasn't. And that really gave me an insight into how people outside of London see Londoners, young black youth, how they see us. Do you get what I mean? Like, they thought that I was one of those girls. Like, if you know me, you know I'm not one of those girls. I don't really fight people. I've never really been a fighter like that, you know, but never really been in the practice of, you know, doing those kind of things. I'm not really like a malicious type of person who's bad mind towards people. So to have people look at me like they feared me, and because of everything they'd seen, like, and it's so important when you're young to see as much things as possible, because it really shapes your perspective on life. And I feel like that's why I'm such an open-minded person, because I've been exposed to so many different types of people, and that really, really helped me. And I feel like that allows me to talk to all different types of people about all different types of things. These are skills that my parents gave me, though, because they saw the situation in which I was growing up in, and they wanted to make sure that I didn't become like a statistic, I didn't become like all these other people. You have to keep your kids busy. Nowadays, there aren't youth clubs. We had youth clubs growing up. We were so fortunate. Anybody who knows EC, when they know about Music Project, everybody was in Music Project. Everybody was outside Music Project. Not everybody was allowed in, but it was a space where you could be creative, you could be safe. It was a good, safe space. We don't have things like that anymore. Do you get what I mean? And I feel like if you feel like there's something you want to do to really, really help the youth nowadays, you need to give them something to do. You need to give them hope. You need to fill their time, because that's something that I didn't really have lots of when I was young. But my parents had me in everything. I was karate, ballet, choir. I was doing like sports. I was doing all sorts. The kids that are involved in those kind of things, they're not on road doing up shanking and stabbing and bap 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 and scrap. They're not doing all of these things because they're busy. They're practicing their craft. They're practicing their art. And when you look at where those kids are now, those kids are successful. I've got one friend, this guy banged football, banged it. He was doing after school football, out of school football, football in that club there, football under 16s, under 18s in this club here. Now he's a professional football player. So, like, he didn't have time to be gangbanging because his mum kept him busy. You've got to keep your kids busy to keep them out of trouble. And they are not going to appreciate it, or you don't let me spend time with my friends, because this is exactly how I don't get to play out with my friends. I don't get to run around with my friends, all of these things. But now look at me. I'm not in jail, thank God. Yeah, I had a child young, but, you know, like, that didn't ruin my life. I still was able to get my education. So definitely keep your kids busy, because you keep them out of trouble. I think that is I would say one of the main problems with why kids are moving mad in today's society. They ain't got shit to do. They're bored as fuck, and they think that if you're bad, it's cool. And that is an image that is reinforced through all types of media, movies, games, music. Everything we consume perpetuates this idea that if you're bad and you're hard and you're emotionless and you're cold, like, that's a good thing. Well, how do you think kids are going to be then? Of course they're going to pick up on these things and they're going to try it out for themselves. Being cold and savage and heartless is not a good thing. It means you're cold, you're heartless, and you're savage, and you're flipping lonely, mate. You're lonely. If you're all those things, you're lonely for sure. That's one thing I can guarantee. Cold-hearted, savage people are definitely lonely people. Don't be a lonely person, because lonely people do lonely things. Like, seriously, guys. Knife crime and your kid dying as a result of it, or your kid going to jail for the rest of their life as a result of it, is probably the worst thing that could happen. But there's so many other things that could happen on the way to that. I mean, you got a daughter, she might get knocked up. You know, that's a real life thing. And it may not happen when she's 16. It could happen before. So, if you're not keeping her out of trouble, they could turn to drugs and be a drug addict. Like, that is worse than being a drug dealer. I'm sorry. I think being a drug addict is worse than being a drug dealer. At least when you're in a drug dealer, you have some element of control. As a drug addict, you've lost it. The control is no longer yours. You've succumbed to the control of this substance. That's something that can happen to your kids if you don't keep them out of trouble, you don't keep them out of harm's way. As a parent, it's your responsibility to protect their life. And I know that the way this country is set up, there is a lot of ways that they stop us from parents as protecting our children. But you have to find other ways, finesse the system. And I'm not saying that you should go and do crazy things like well, I know that some people may misread this, but I know what I mean. You have to do things that may not be in line with the law in order to make sure that you and yours are safe. Seriously. Because that is exactly what the people in power do. Not everything they do is in line with the law. I'm very much sure, yeah, that her dodging all of her responsibilities is probably not lawful. And she didn't care about the people in Grenfell. What makes you think she's going to care about the youth on the roads? What actually makes you think that? Because I can't think of anything she's done or said that would make me feel like she genuinely cares about the people in this country. She doesn't. She is one of those people who behaves as if they are cold, heartless, and emotionless. Like, and I don't rate that. But you know what? I can't even complain too tough because I didn't vote. So we're not even going to get into all of that. You know what I mean? I don't feel like people that don't vote should be mouthing off about the government. That's why I don't really talk about it much. But what I will say is we didn't fucking vote for her, okay? So I can bitch about her a little bit. Plus, you're just heartless and cold. Like, babes, you run a whole country. People look up to you for reasons I don't know. And others who don't look up to you are hoping that you take your job seriously and do this job because you genuinely care. Why the hell would you be the Prime Minister if you don't care about people? Like, really and truly, like, that is what the whole job is about. Talking, socialising and engaging and helping people. What the hell is she doing? She's in the wrong job and the career advisor advised her wrong, and just talking about her makes me irritated. It actually just makes me irritated because, like, I don't even understand how she ended up there. Like, it doesn't even make sense to me. You don't even care about people. Why are you Prime Minister? Prime Minister of what? Of your 10 Downing Street. That must be what you're Prime Minister of, because no one else feels like you're their Prime Minister. You're moving on a Donald Trump thing. I'm not even gonna lie. I know that was very far-fetched, yeah? But she's on this Donald Trump thing when it comes to, like, not actually caring about the people that she's supposed to be leading. You're meant to be a leader. A leader stands in front and encourages and brings everybody up. But instead, the mayor of of London, you don't even want to chat to him. You don't even want to bust conversation with him to see how you can help this problem. Guys, if you want something done in this life, you have to do it yourself. If we want this situation on the roads to change, the responsibility is with us. We cannot wait for the government. We cannot wait for the local authorities. We cannot wait for the schools. We cannot wait for other communities, yeah, to infiltrate and help. It is our responsibility, it is our community, and it takes a village to raise a child. And I'm telling you something, guys, we need to start remembering that we are a village. Whether or not you like the people who are around you or not, they are the difference between life and death for you in a lot of situations that you probably haven't even perceived yet. So seriously, guys, this is something that we have to do. And I don't believe that marching is going to help. And I don't believe that petitions will help either. They may aid, but they are not going to help. And they are not going to make a big change. I don't feel like pushing the responsibility over to people who have failed us already is going to help. I hope my points have been clear, guys. And I just felt like I needed to get this rant off my chest, because I feel like we're pointing a lot of fingers right now. And really and truly, we need to be looking at ourselves. Personally, how do we feel about other people? How do we act towards other people? What responsibility are we setting for our children? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, what responsibility are we setting for the community? Do you care about other people? Because if you don't care about other people, neither does that guy that stabbed your you. He don't care about other people either. That's why he stabbed your you. And I'm not to say that that's okay, because it's not okay, but can you see how it's a mindset, how it's a perspective that allows these things to continue? It's all in here because we act upon the things that are inside our heads. So if you want to understand why these children are moving the way they're doing, you need to be sitting down and having conversations with them to make sure that they are not making these same mistakes, that their mindset is in the right place, because these people are the next generation. And imagine they've got our streets come like war zone, yeah? Imagine what it's going to be like when their generation are in charge. I mean, they are the future. Anyways, guys, if you like this video and you like me talking about these kind of things, definitely give this video a thumbs up. I would like to hear your comments on this whole situation down below. I don't mind if people don't agree with me. I'm very much aware of the fact that this is one of those situations that, it's one of those situations where everybody's going to have a different perspective. And I feel like we need to really look at we need to micro look at every situation, as opposed to looking at it as a macro thing and adding like our judgment and our perspectives to the whole situation. You need to hone in and really look. What's the issue in Tottenham? What's the issue in Hackney? I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this. I'd love to hear you lot's perspective on this one. But I don't want anyone beefing or arguing. That's not... Remember, this is a judgment-free zone. So you can comment on my perspective, but do not judge me for it, because you don't actually know me. So if I see anybody moving judgmental in the comments, your comment will be blocked, and you will be blocked, and your comment will be deleted. Okay, so you've already been warned. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and do not forget to give this video a like, comment down below, and subscribe. Check out some of my other videos. Usually I don't do things like this. I don't share my opinion. I make makeup videos. So if you want to see how I usually beat this face, then the videos are there. And if you want to know where I got this bonnet, leave the link to my beauty supply store in the description box below.